I love this quote so much, so I'll begin this video with it. Support the country you live in, or live in the country you support. This quote is undisputed and it comes in handy in today's video. Now, Canada, like most Western nations, has built a society that values liberty, fairness, and compassion. A society that respects the fundamental human rights of every individual. But this particular virtue has been hijacked by those trying to invade and conquer the West. They are using the same freedom that Canada and many other Western parts of the world provide to everybody who is residing in this part of the world to wage a silent war on these Western countries. And we're going to be discussing all that today. When someone accuses you of Islamophobia simply because you pointed out something wrong that he or she did, when somebody accuses you of trampling on their freedom of religion simply because you don't want a gigantic speaker blasting noise in your eardrums 5 times a day, when a so-called mayor calls you names, demonizes you, and tells you you are not welcome in your own city just because you dared to tell him not to name your American city after an Islamic terrorist supporter, then it is not a mistake. It is all by design. Certain religious group is leveraging the freedom that these progressive Western countries have to offer, and they are using it to silently conquer the West. That is why they hide under the right to freedom of expression. They hold free Palestine protests, and instead of demanding that Hamas free Palestine, they chant dangerous things about the Western countries that they are living in. The Western countries that gave them the power and the freedom to engage in these protests. And they even burn the flags of these Western countries. I can't count the number of times I have seen these pro-Palestinian activists burning the United States flag. These guys don't even really care about Palestine, okay? They don't care about the Palestinian people. If they do, then we would see multiple numbers of Muslim countries sending help, sending aid, or even taking in Palestinians as refugees. But no, we don't see that. We don't. And there is a reason. And that is because they don't really care. So all they care about is hating on Israel and also hating on everybody who is non-Muslim and hoping to conquer these non-Muslim nations all in the guise of free Palestine. We're going to be looking at this video coming out of Canada, and it shows a Canadian woman who went berserk with anger after finding out just the plan these so-called pro-Palestinian activists have for her beloved country, Canada. Take a look.
Good evening, everyone. I'm extremely pissed off fucking Canadian right about now. I'm driving home from work in Edmonton, Alberta, and I come up to the Palestinian protest little convoy that's going on. Well, I'm driving away, and as I'm driving away, I've got my window down, and all you hear is, "Death to Canada! Death to Canada! Death to Canada!" I'm sorry. Go back to your country and fight there and get the fuck out of ours if you hate our country so much. Sorry, not sorry. I'm a very, very, very patriot Canadian. And I'm sorry, after what I just went through on my way home, you and your Palestinian protest. Have a great day.
I didn't like that she used a lot of expletives in that video. That was the only thing I did not agree with in that video. But on the other hand, I can understand why she was extremely pissed to the extent of losing her cool, losing her control, and, using those swear words. But yes, I still do not condone the swear words. But aside from her expletives, she was extremely correct in her outrage. To repeat the words I said in the beginning of this video, if you do not support the country you live in, then you should live in the country you support. Those so-called pro-Palestinian activists were chanting death to Canada. And hey, I don't need to see the video to even know that it is true. I believe her completely. I have seen many death to America scenarios to understand that there would also be many death to Canada scenarios.
Death to Canada! Death to the United States!
Now, I am aware that this religion of peace practitioners have hijacked these progressive movements and they are using it to further their Islamic agenda. But in cases like this, I blame the Westerners who allow this to happen, starting from those ignorant Canadian liberals who are also chanting death to Canada alongside the so-called newcomers, the liberals telling them that it is okay to chant death to their land, to their, country. Also to the conservatives or the so-called right-wingers who are not brave enough to challenge and call out this nonsense. To the leaders who are facilitating this internal destruction of their country and even in many ways benefiting from it. You all are pathetic for allowing this to continue. Can a group of Americans go to Iran and chant death to Iran and live to tell the story? Can a group of Canadians go to Pakistan or Afghanistan or even Syria and chant death to any of these countries and live to tell the story? No, they won't even do that. They won't even dare because they are well aware of the consequences. Then why would you allow others to come to your own land, your territory, under your own rules, and then under the pretense of activism for Palestine, chant death to your country? Why would you allow that? Of course, they will chant death to your country. But when your country dies, when they successfully replace you, they will not afford you the same freedom or the same right that you give to them. They won't give you the same human rights you have afforded them. And they will laugh at you and make fun of you and boast about how they conquered you. Now, whether you belong to the left or to the right or to the center or whatever, none of that matters. This is about defending and protecting your land, your country. This video should make you stop and think, because that particular incident that Canadian woman witnessed isn't a peaceful protest. It is pure hatred directed at the very country that gave these people a home and a voice, directed at your own country. Death to Canada. That chant is a war cry. Now ask yourself this question. Why are people who despise Canada still live in Canada, enjoying its privileges, driving on its roads, and benefiting from everything it offers while shouting for its destruction? Why? Why don't they just go back to wherever they came from or relocate to anywhere in the Middle East or any Muslim country? Why? They won't, because they have a different agenda in the West. And please, bear this in mind, okay? Because of people who are going to clip this video and make it seem like I'm against freedom of speech or freedom of religion. I am not against peaceful protest, okay? In fact, I believe people should have the right to criticize policies, raise awareness, and demand justice. That is part of a healthy democracy. But when you cross the line into wishing death upon a country that shelters and accommodates you, you are not protesting anymore. You are declaring hostility towards the society that feeds you. Canadian laws are so tolerant that even those who hate the nation are protected by the freedoms the nation provides. That is the danger I'm worried about. And that is exactly the loophole these guys are exploiting. It is part of a bigger pattern that I'm seeing across the Western world. These guys, you know who I mean, are trying to tear down everything that holds Western societies together. They enjoy Western freedoms, Western comforts, and Western prosperity, but reject the very foundations that made it possible. They attack Canada. They attack the US, they attack the UK, they attack even France, Italy, Germany, and so on and so forth, calling them colonial, oppressive, evil, but never once acknowledging that it is these same countries that allow them to speak freely, to protest safely, and to build better lives. It is like biting the hand that feeds you, but they do it with alacrity. Canadians who love the country need to wake up and start speaking up for their country. You cannot stay silent while newcomers and radicals destroy your country from within. Canada is not a country of hate. It is not perfect, no nation is, but it is one of the freest, safest, and most compassionate countries on planet Earth. And if someone can't see that, if they truly think that Canada deserves to die, then maybe they don't belong in Canada. I really commend the woman who made that video for her bravery. Thank you, ma'am, for saying what so many Canadians want to say but have been afraid to say. And to those of them chanting death to Canada, maybe it is time to ask yourselves, if you hate the country so much, then why are you still in Canada?
Save your Palestine! Stick your politics